Dusty, is Lance McCullers Jr. going to pitch in this series?
Well, we're still trying to decide that. You know, he had an MRI. I think James covered that earlier. He had an MRI, and so we just have to. He's under further evaluation, and we'll know hopefully by tomorrow.
What are your options if he is unavailable to pitch?
Well, I mean, our options are you know, who we have. You know, we got Framber, we got Garcia, we got Urquidy, and Odorizzi. You know, we do have options, but right now we're not going to call upon those options, even though Framber's starting tomorrow, and then we'll go from there.
In the back left corner, Brian.
So you don't have a Game 2 starter yet?
Pardon?
You don't have a Game 2 starter yet?
Yeah, we do. Garcia.
Yeah, Christie in the third row right here.
Dusty, can you just share your thoughts on the Astros being in the ALCS for the 5th straight year and the opportunity the team has ahead of them?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity for us, especially, we were there last year. It didn't have the same magnitude as it does now because, baseball's almost back, to being normal. And so, we're glad we're opening at home. That last week of the season, you just didn't know how important that was going to be for this home field advantage. I know everybody was probably, picking Tampa, but these guys are a very good team, a formidable team, and that's why you play the games, because a lot of the predictors are wrong, and baseball is something that's hard to predict. But we got a formidable foe coming in here. The guys know Cora. Cora knows us, and so it has the makings for a great series.
The second row on your right, Jake.
Will you have Jake Myers available in this series?
We're not sure about that either. So we're I got to talk to the trainers afterwards, see how he came out of it today, and again, I mean, we have a few question marks, but we've had question marks all year long, and hopefully, knock on wood, that he's good for tomorrow.
The fourth row on your left, Brian.
Dusty, do you foresee using Zach Greinke as you did in the previous series out of the bullpen, or could he potentially fill in as a starter for you if needed?
He's not stretched out as a starter, over the last month, so we're deciding that which pockets are better for this guy and that guy. So we're still in the process of meeting, and we don't have to announce our roster until tomorrow by 10 a.m. So, like I said, we're still, talking about things, and we do have a few guys that are, that are hurt, that we're trying to figure out to take the best roster forward.
And David on your right.
Dusty, I know this is only 2 years. Right over here, Dusty.
Where are you? Okay.
Right here.
Yeah.
This is only 2 years for you with this infield, but can you speak to the success that those four guys have had over the last 5 years or so? And does it remind you of a certain infield that you were close to in the 70s?
Yeah. I mean, they've almost been around as long as the infield that we had with the Dodgers. I mean, they were there when I got there, and some of them even there after I left from there. But it's one of the best infields around, one of the best infields in history, offensively and defensively. And it really helps to have some guy beside you that his range, what he's capable of doing, his range on pop-ups, on ground balls. And so being familiar, with the guy next to you is very, very important. Similar to like football. If you have the same front four and same linebackers, then you probably got a hell of a defense.
Ken in the third row in the middle.
Hey, Dusty.
Yes.
You took over this job in rather unique circumstances. Just
Mhm.
wondering, when you first got the feel of the terrain, did you think back-to-back ALCS appearances were realistic?
Yeah, yeah, I really did. I mean, with the personnel that they have, health was always a question. After what these guys went through, you're always cognizant of the mental and spiritual condition of the club. But this is an extremely strong, close knit, group of guys, and they lean on each other for support. And I mean, these guys, they take a lot of pride in winning, and especially the guys that have been here for a while. They've been through a couple back-to-back 100-loss seasons, and they like the feeling of winning and the feeling of being on top, and they think that they're supposed to win no matter what how the series starts or the outcome. And you saw, like last year, against Tampa Bay, I mean, we lost the first 3 games against Tampa Bay, and then took it down to Game 7. So these guys, weren't overly, concerned. It'd been different had they not been together that long, and it'd been different had they not had, the amount of success, because success breeds success, and these guys are used to being successful.
And on another matter,
Yes.
you've dealt with plenty of players in their free agent year, high-profile guys with free agency approaching. How do you think Correa has dealt with that attention and scrutiny?
Oh yeah, I think he's dealt with it great. You can't do anything about 4 or 5 months in advance, so you can only play today. And I was in that situation myself. And you don't worry about the money, you just perform. And everything else will take care of itself. If you perform, you do the job, then everything else will follow after that. And I'm telling you, Carlos has done an outstanding job, because I've seen a bunch of guys in their free agent year, really, can't handle the insecurity of not having security. And so, to me, Carlos he doesn't talk about it. He just comes to play. And I mean, this guy loves to play, loves to win.
Chandler right across from Ken.
Dusty, obviously you didn't have Alvarez at all in the playoffs last year. What is the biggest thing you miss when he is not in your lineup?
Oh, well, you got a big left-handed bat. I mean, if you'd have given us Alvarez last year, maybe the outcome might have been different. I mean, when you miss a big bat like that, I mean, I know he's only, 1 out of 9, but the big bats, they do probably 20 to 30% of the carrying of the weight, for your offense. And I mean, these big bats, they can turn a whole series around. A big bat can carry, the team on its back for at least a short period of time, and possibly a long period of time. I mean, you look at Big Papi a few years ago, with Boston. I mean, he was the man. You look at Manny Ramirez. I mean, if you got more than one big bat in there, then you really, got a great chance.
The second row on your left, John.
Hi, Dusty. Good to see
Joe.
you. When you look at pitching and you think about postseasons that you managed in the past, and obviously when you had Strasburg and Scherzer, it was always going deep into games. It's a different game right now where sometimes you see 3 innings, 4 innings, no earned runs, and that's good. How has your philosophy changed on that in terms of how you want to use your pitching here in this series?
Well, I mean, it's changed because the philosophy of the game has changed. My philosophy hasn't changed. I mean, when I was in Chicago, I looked on the board in that room back there. When Ozzie Guillen, they won 4 in a row. I don't think they used anybody out the bullpen. I mean, that'd be great. But I mean, with how the guys are conditioned, in the minor leagues, it's all about conditioning mentally and physically. When you're told some guys shouldn't go the 3rd time around, well, you better have a heck of a bullpen, which is, you see how the bullpens change and how many teams use so many different players, you know, in the bullpen, but it still goes back to, the importance of a bullpen. You know, I remember when I was a very young man reading something by Yogi Berra. You know, he said, if you don't have a bullpen, you don't have nothing. You know what I mean? And we've come to, depend on them, and you try to put them in a position where they will most likely succeed. Are you going to necessarily get it perfect? No, because the other team over there has something to say about, scoring runs off of your guys, and so again, it's gonna be an exciting series.
Closer to the back in the middle, Gabe.
Hey, Dusty. From what you knew of Alex Cora before he became a manager, did you have an idea he'd be as successful as he's been so far?
No, because I didn't really know him. You know, I knew him in passing, or I knew everybody that he grew up with, especially in Puerto Rico. I knew, Kenny Maldonado, and I actually had more contact with his brother, Joey, than I, across the field than I had with, with Alex. And, Centron, that's one of Centron's best friends. Sandy Alomar Jr., I know all the people that, he grew up with. And, I knew Sandy's father. I played with Sandy's father in Puerto Rico on the same team. So, I'm pulling for him other than when he's playing us.
And he's so aggressive the way he manages in the postseason in terms of bringing in starters whenever. Right. How does that change the way you might approach things on your? If I was as concerned about what he's doing, then that would make me a counter puncher versus a puncher. Do you know what I mean? So, I'm more worried about getting the max out of my team than I am, what they're doing over there.
Do a couple more standing on the rise there in the back.
Yeah, Dusty, what you saw Framber develop last year, came that gets hurt. What has impressed you the most about his makeup, his development over the last year to get him to this spot right now at this stage?
Well, he's been here before. He was our main guy last year, and for a young kid to have done and been in a situation, you don't find that much. The last real young kid, not kid, but young man that I was around was like Fernando Valenzuela, in LA. He wasn't in all the situation, he pitched far beyond his years. And I like Framber's determination. I like the fact that he's loose as heck, you know what I mean, which would take him a long ways that you don't expect Framber to get or be tight.
Three more quick ones. Mark here.
Jesse, you touched on it some, but how do you think your roster, the organization's built right now to handle with the depth that you have, given Lance's situation, Jake's situation, if they can't go for whatever reason, what you have to go for depth-wise for those guys?
Well, hey, man, you got to do what you got to do, Mark. And not only that, like you hear me talk about a surprise person. And somebody, to step up. And a lot of times it's somebody that not one of your big boys that you're counting on to step up. Like I keep referring back to like Mark Lemke with the Braves. Who knew Lemke was going to step up the way he did? And usually there's less pressure on those guys because they're not expected to carry the load. And so I'm expecting to. All year long we've had different guys. All year long we lose one guy, we pick up another guy, then this guy picks up the banner, and then the next guy picks up the banner, and this is what we have to do. You're not going to get any sympathy or cards from anybody because this guy's not here or that guy's not here. We got to figure out the best way.
Two more quick ones. Jesus.
Dusty, what stands out of Framber Valdez? Like, what stands out when you think of him?
How strong he is. This guy is
I mean, this guy could be a running back. He could be a middle linebacker. I mean, this guy is strong. I mean, he's physically strong and, mentally loose.
And we'll finish up on the third row on the right.
Dusty, the Red Sox have some left-handed hitters, especially at the top of their order. With the way that Maton pitched in the last series, does that maybe change the equation and maybe you feel like you might not need the second lefty?
Probably not. I mean, you can't throw Maton out there every day, and so there are going to be pockets and things that, they have some good lefties. I mean, some really good lefties. And so you just hope that your guys, perform. We're trying to get the best roster that we can to combat. We don't have, everybody in our roster, but you do know which guys, Devers going to be on the roster. They can leave him off if they want to, what I mean? And, shoot, they got 3 or 4 lefties in there that can, I mean, these guys can hit. I mean, this should be a offensive series. I mean, you're going to have to play them all the way down to the end. You're never out of a game. You know that you're going to have to add on when you need to add on, and you never know which run is going to be the final run. That's going to be the the winning run.